Over the years, we've been involved with hundreds, if not over 1,000 different court cases as a investigator, insurance agent, work with attorneys, principal to the case. And one thing that we find about legal cases is that the result is really like going to the casino. You don't really know what's going to happen. A court, a jury, a judge can make decisions that are unexpected. Even if you think you have an airtight, open and shut case, slam dunk, there may be things that come up that make that different. One of the very best pieces of advice that you can get as a plaintiff, especially, or even a defendant, up until the time the case goes to court, it's the last chance you have of things being under your control, things being in your hands. While you're still working with your attorney during settlement, negotiation, mediation, arbitration, you still have control over your destiny. Once that case goes into the court system, all bets are off. Judge can make decisions that make no sense. A jury can come up with a verdict that makes no sense. And once you're in that place, whatever decision the judge, jury, or court makes is binding on you. You have to take it for what it's worth. If they say you're liable to pay X amount of dollars, you have to pay it. If they say that your claim is thrown out of court, you're done. You get nothing. You have no leverage. So as soon as you go into that court litigation process, you don't have any more control. Your future is outside of your control. So you want to do everything you can to keep that from happening, even if it has a little bit less of an ideal result for you. Because it always does. Even if you win in court, you have the time that you allocate to it. You have the expense of the legal fees, which can crank up very, very quickly. Even ask an attorney. Many of our attorney colleagues and friends tell us the same thing. They advise their clients to stay out of court if possible, because once you get into that court system, you don't have any more control. Even the attorney doesn't have control. Attorney can't force things to happen. You can have depositions, you can have discovery, interrogatories, and if the court says something, you have to do it. That's why mediation is so crucial. It's the last chance you have to create a result, to negotiate a result, to pitch your case, and tell your side of the story without having it be outside of your control. You can say yes or no to whatever is presented to you at that point. If the court says something to you, you can't say, no, I don't want to do it. You have to do it. So a good mediation experience can help at least paint the picture of what happens. And that's what we do as mediators. We'll tell you what could happen in court. You may not like to hear it, but that's going to be the reality. You'd rather hear from us and be able to say no and have an option and have your choice, rather than the court says this is what you have to do and you don't have a choice. In fact, you may find that in arbitration, mediation, negotiation, there may be more in common with your opposing party than you think. But you're never going to find that out from two attorneys talking to each other, because your attorney and the other side's attorney are going to have different points of view. Your attorney's your advocate. Their attorney's their advocate. You don't have a middle ground. A mediator doesn't take sides. We hear both sides. We listen to what you have to say. We hear you out in full. We don't interrupt you. We don't stop you. We hear what's important to you. We hear what the other side's important to them. We might find that the puzzle pieces fit together perfectly well and nobody really knew it. It keeps you from having the court throw the two of you together like, gladiators in a cage fighting it out, and even if you win, you walk out bloodied, even if it's just financial. Forget the time you spend doing it. We had a case we're familiar with a couple years ago where a party to a case was over a $5,000 contract dispute. People couldn't agree on $5,000 over a contract. And both sides believed that it was cut and dry. They were right. No question. We're right. Cut and dried case, black and white. Just no negotiation. Both sides believed it. They went to court. Both sides spent over $100,000 in legal fees to get their day in court, to go to trial. One of them won. The side that won ended up getting their legal fees back. The other side had to pay back their legal fees because in the contract it said loser pays. So the side that won got their $5,000. They got their legal fees paid back. So you might think, well, they won. They succeeded. Well, they didn't. Because during that year and a half of trial, they had to come out of pocket all that money to their attorneys. They got the money back, but it was like a free loan to the attorney, and then they got the money back from the other side. Plus, they had to spend who knows how many hours doing depositions, working with their attorney, going to court 2 or 3 times just to get back $5,000. Now, to be fair, the side that won tried to get out of this. They said, look, we'll just forget about the $5,000. We won't fight over it. We'll just go away. In fact, they even offered to pay another $10,000 just to kind of keep out of court. So they were being reasonable. But the other side said, no, we think we're going to win this case. And next thing you know, it was a disaster for everybody. In fact, the side that lost, the owner of the company had to take out a home equity loan to pay the legal fees. Again, the thing to remember is mediation is your last chance to have things in your control. Take advantage of it. At least try it. Can't hurt. Costs a few $100 maybe. It's less than an hour, maybe a half an hour of your attorney's fees. And that time investment might be the best thing you ever happened. And you won't even know what kind of disaster you avoided, but it could be pretty big. Ask any attorney, even if it's not your attorney, what they think about you going to court. And they're going to say, don't do it. And you might think, well, an attorney wants to go to court. That's what they do. They bill me hours. They don't want to bill you hours to go to court. They'd rather bill you hours to settle it, to negotiate it. Maybe to settle it, you have to do some discovery motions or get some depositions or get some documentation to see where everybody stands. But even attorneys don't want to go to court. It's not good for them. It's not good for you. Ask anybody.